to Kris, I wasn't the one who presented it to her, because we all thought it had to be done by a Californian. And so it was Brent Ossing who presented the award and did it with great elegance and grace, as you would imagine. So anyhow, so now at the ACSO conference, I have a moment to say a couple of things about Kris, and they're very personal things about Kris. And two things. One, many of you will be able to relate to, and one, none of you will be able to relate to, except Kris and me. So I got to know Kris right around the time my son was born. And I was being a parent for the first time. And any of you who are parents know what an incredible experience that is, and also hard and complicated. And so I was getting to know Kris, and all of our conversations always began with her asking me about my son. And to this very day, all of our conversations begin exactly the same way. And you know, this is not so much about how good it makes me feel that she's interested in my son, but anybody who perceives what matters to another person so quickly and is able to act on that is a person of great humanity and depth and importance in our world, and that's how I think about Kris. Now, the way none of you can relate to is, you may have figured out that we both run associations for people in orchestras. And in fact, I mean, really nobody can relate to this anywhere except me and Kris. So, we act like we love you, and we really do. We really do. But you're a tough bunch, and you can't ever agree on what it is you all want. Anytime we make some of you happy, we make the rest of you mad, and it's just not easy. And Kris is someone that I've been able to talk to, and we can share those challenges, but also the great joys of being part of this field that we love so much, and also being part of the incredible bond of relationships that are so important to keeping our field healthy, but also just bring us great joy in the wonderful friendships and connections that we make. And so it's just been a privilege to have Kris in my life as a colleague, but also as a friend, and her impact on all of us is just immeasurable, and I'm just so thankful for all you've done. So hear, Kris. Yay!
Thank you, Jesse. And now I'd like to welcome Jane Hill.
Slowly.
Take your time.
Thanks.
The bag lady.
And it's your bag, dear.
Now I can say bag lady.
Thank you. I first met Kris in 2001 when I came to be executive director for the Sacramento Philharmonic. I had run theater companies before, professional theater companies. I'd run a professional opera company in the Midwest for almost 10 years, but I had never run an orchestra. And boy, was that a strange new experience, especially this thing called unions, because for the opera company, we got our services through the Omaha Symphony, and I never had to do any negotiating. So somebody said to me, you better get in touch with Kris Sinclair at ACSO. I did, and she has been a beloved mentor and friend since those years. One of the things I wondered about when I retired from the Philharmonic in 2007 is, sometimes you have these professional relationships, and they're tied through your professions, and you don't know if those friendships will continue once that relationship is over. And I am proud and pleased and touched to say that my friendship with Kris has only deepened in those years since I've left the Philharmonic. I'm very, very grateful. She is a true friend, and in my mind, a true friend will tell you not only the things you'd like to hear, but the things you don't want to hear. She won't make the decision for you, but she will give you her honest opinion, and that's incredibly valuable. So I brought a little thing here.
Oh God, Jane.
This is called a sonnet for Kris Sinclair. For more than 30 years, you've led the fight to serve the orchestras on Western shores, providing passion to support the scores of eager members struggling toward the light. A network and a forum we required to serve the classics, feed our boldest dreams, supply the knowledge, and it also seems gather the resources to take us higher. We hail you, Kris Sinclair, departing queen. To you, united voices now we raise. What brains, charisma, you remain our muse. We sing your virtues as you leave the scene. Your legacy will long deserve our praise, and we will ne'er forget the stylish shoes.
And there they are.
That was really touching, Jane. Thank you. Gotta take a minute here.
Was that you?
And now I'd like to welcome Joe Truscott. Joe, thanks for being here.
Oh, my goodness. Hello, everyone. It's my great pleasure now to tell you a little bit about Kris Sinclair and our relationship together. This wonderful woman and I first worked together at the conference in Long Beach in 1990. Anybody at that conference there? I know Kris was. Were you there too? Oh, good. That began the start of our relationship, but I have to also say, I wouldn't be in California. I came from the League of American Orchestras, where I'd been for 9 years, met Kris occasionally at our functions. But when I decided to come to California and I wanted to make California my home, of course I talked to Kris about it, and of course the search committee then talked to Kris. And if you know Kris, she's got some very direct approaches to things. And essentially she said to the search committee, he's the best you're going to find for what you're paying. Which is sort of a compliment somewhere. But at any rate, that started a great relationship. She's got lots of enthusiasm, and one example of which is there was a conference in San Jose, and it was a crazy conference. It was the first time that we ever worked in the Fairmont there. It was a little crazy, some difficulty there. You know how conferences are. Well, guess what Kris Sinclair did afterwards? She joined me, bundled herself up, joined me in a strawberry field outside of Watsonville, where I knew there was a rose hybridizer who was giving away rose bushes. So on the day after a conference, Kris and I were trudging through, found a locked gate. I found a shower curtain in my trunk, and we dragged the shower curtain all the way about a quarter of a mile into where we got these roses, and then proceeded to dig up 20 or so rose bushes. And that's just an example of the enthusiasm and I think probably the future direction that Kris is going to take. She's got lots of plans, and they're going to be wonderful things. We haven't heard the end of Kris Sinclair. She's going to be around for a long time, influencing all of us. So please, again, join me in this wonderful treat that we've had with Kris and all those conferences and so much work. And we just love you and appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Kris wants me to tell you the roses are still growing. I'm trying to get over why you had a shower curtain in the trunk. But you just never know where you're going to need to shower, I guess.
Roses make a mess when you dig them up.
You have to hold them.
Okay, I'll take your word for that. All right. So Peter couldn't be here. He extends his apologies, Kris. He had a family emergency. But we have Peter Pastrike, but we have a wonderful surprise in Ron Gallman, who would love to say a few words. So Ron, thank you.
Kris and I are both from the South, so what you just saw was, in Southern parlance, is, hi, sweetheart, or hi, Hollywood, give me some sugar. Okay. I am standing here in Peter Pastreich's shoes, as it were, which is not inappropriate because many years ago at the San Francisco Symphony, when Peter Pastreich was executive director, that's been quite some time ago. Yes, I was there. I was an infant. I was an administrative prodigy. Yes, so very young then. Kris, you were very young then too. But I can't quite remember how it happened, but Peter asked me or gave the assent that yes, I should join the ACSO board. And little did I know at that moment that my life was about to change because I was going to be caught up in the fabulous vortex of Kris. And what a fabulous vortex it has been. I think you can tell that we have, as so many people have said, we have a very strong personal relationship. Kris cares about people as people, has great humanity. Over many years, we've talked about many personal things not only at work, in our family lives, travel, etc., etc., etc. You know, those beautiful roses at your home. The other part of it, though, is something that affects all of us who have not had necessarily the benefit of such a wonderful, close personal relationship with Kris, and that is, of course, her leadership to the field and her nurturing. And during my 11-year stint on the ACSO board, yes, I have scars to show for it. during my wonderful scars, they're badges of honor. During my 11 years on the ACSO board, I was able to watch firsthand the kind of true loving care that Kris gave to every single organization, to every person, to those who approached her for advice, and even, of course, Kris taking the initiative to go out. One of the things that I would hear her ask is, how are things going? What's going on? How can I help you? And I think that's so emblematic of what Kris has brought to the organization, to ACSO, and by extension is a very important part as to why California's orchestras are as strong and as vital as they are. So Kris, indeed, you leave a very lasting legacy. You've created a very strong foundation. You've built upon that foundation. And now California orchestras are poised to continue evolving and sailing into the future. And they will always do so under the banner of Kris. You will be one of the sails on that ship. So for everything that you do and have done and will continue to do, please accept the gratitude from me, from the San Francisco Symphony, and indeed from the entire ACSO membership for the strength and health of California's orchestras and what that has done for goodness and humanity in this world. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. So one of Kris's proudest moments is getting funding to commission a celebratory piece by William Kraft for ACSO's 25th anniversary season. Because of that, in honor of your retirement and to celebrate your legacy, we commissioned a piece by Adam Schoenberg a year ago called Constellation, performed by musicians of the Oakland Symphony today, and today is the world premiere. Please welcome musicians of the Oakland Symphony.
Ha ha ha.